There have been rumors about this couple living in the main street about 4 years ago. A man named Robert Smith was working at the gas station for a while until he got in an argument with his boss. When he was ready to start the car, a woman named Annabelle Richmond came up to the car and asked Robert for a ride. "Excuse me, sir. Sorry to bother you, but I was just wondering that can you give me a ride to my home? My friend took my phone and left me stranded." "Well, sounds like that person isn't a very good friend." "Sure, I'll give you a ride." "Awesome! I'll pay you on the way." "You don't have to do that, ma'am. I'm always happy to help anybody out." "Oh, thank you, sir." She gets in the car and they both drove off. She gave him directions and they got to know each other little by little. "My name is Robert Smith. What's yours?" "Annabelle Richmond. Nice to meet you." "The pleasure is mine." They finally got to a stopping point and Annabelle said thank you to Robert. When she just got out of the car, Robert replied, "Hey, how about you and I go out sometime? Maybe Friday, perhaps?" She smiled and nodded. "That would be great." "Awesome. I'll pick you up till 5 p.m. They got together, knew each other more, and they were happily married. They moved into a one-level house with a basement. The marriage didn't last long. One fateful night, they got in an argument. Annabelle threatened to Robert that she was going to leave him. Robert was furious and didn't allow it. He grabbed a hold of her and slammed her to the wall, screaming at her, "You are not leaving me." He grabs a meat cleaver, walks up to Annabelle, and drags her down to the basement by pulling a handful of hair. He threw her on the floor and started swinging the meat cleaver, hitting her chest 15 times. He finally stopped and glanced at her lifeless body, till her last words were, "One day, you will be sorry." Robert entered her life with a final blow, and she spitted up blood. He had no idea what to do with her body, but to bury her in the basement, then cover the floor with concrete. Police looked for Annabelle for months and never knew what happened to her. A year went by and Robert still lived in that house and no photo of Annabelle. He was watching TV, slouching down on the couch, drinking Captain Morgan, until he heard a whispering, "Robert." A female voice coming from behind him, and he shot up right from the couch and turned around. No one was there. He kept thinking that it was just in his head. After he rubbed his hands on his face, he spotted a shadow figure moving towards the other room. He quickly went to the kitchen and grabbed a meat cleaver, the same one that killed Annabelle. He shouted, "I have a weapon, you better leave now." There was no answer. He walked slowly towards the room and scanned the place. He found nothing. After he calmed down, he was about to put down the meat cleaver until a bloody, pale woman stood in front of him. Robert's hair turned white. "Annabelle?" She raised her hand and ran it into his chest, through his back, taking out his heart. Robert gagged his blood and tumbled to the floor, his heart slowly beating, and Annabelle spoke into a soft, eerie voice. "I told you that you would be sorry." Police came by and investigated the house, and they found 2 bodies. One was Robert that was found in the bedroom with a discarded heart, and the other was Annabelle that was found in the basement. News reporters came by with a camera crew to explain what was going on. I wanted to know that if the rumors were true, if her spirit was still roaming in the house, because some people said that there were shadow figures was seen passing by a window. So I grabbed a phone and went inside the house. I got my phone out and started videotaping it so that way I can catch any paranormal activity. The house was trashed. Papers and some leaves were all over the floor. It's just a complete mess. After I was about to walk into the next room, a hand grabbed my shoulder. I turned around and it was Mike and Sherry. They were laughing and teasing me. Thought it was funnier than hell. Ha ha ha, I got you, John. That wasn't funny, Mike. You almost gave me a heart attack. After they got out of their system and I calmed down, we went to the next rooms. There's bloody stains on the floor. There Robert died, and it had tape on the floor of the crime scene, a shape of a body. Then we decided to go to the basement, where it all started. We got to the bottom of the stairs, and there were a big hole in the floor. Dirt and pieces of concrete were all over the place. Then we heard 3 thumps on the wall. Mike, quit that. It wasn't me. Sherry, I didn't do it. We were getting worried and looked around to see who's with us. After I went to the corner of the room, crack, pop. I quickly turned around and I saw my friend Sherry being killed by a bloody pale woman. She ripped her heart out and shoved her into a hole where she was buried. Me and Mike ran up the stairs, trying not to look back. When we reached on top of the staircase, someone grabbed a meat cleaver and took a swing towards Mike, hitting him in the throat. Mike was gagging, gasping for air. I took a good look at him. I saw a bloody pale man. It was Robert, the man who murdered Annabelle. His chest was running down with blood where Annabelle ripped his heart out. I ran out of the house and went straight to the police, and I told them what was going on. He doubted me, thinking that I was crazy, but I wasn't. I had proof. I gave him my phone and played the video. He couldn't believe it and looked at me with a shock. He grabbed his walkie-talkie and sent officers to the house. I realized that Robert and Annabelle wanted us to suffer like they did. I know now that the house is haunted, and it will kill anybody who walks into it.